And welcome to TalkFCB, and welcome back here to the channel, guys. And in today's video, I am going to be answering your questions on the big things going on right now at Barcelona. We're going to be talking about all of it right here, from Griezmann to Suarez to the progress that we may or may not have seen from Quique Setien, and of course, Barcelona's games behind closed doors. It's all coming up. Let's get to it. And firstly, thank you very, very much to every single one of you there who got involved with the questions on my community section. And a really good question here. I love this. He asked a question and then he went and answered it. He actually gave a brilliant point. He said, how do you think the empty stadiums for the next two games will affect the La Liga title race in your opinion? And then he said, do you think the empty stadium may actually give the players less pressure and they can play perfectly as instructed without pressure from the fans as well? And I think that's a very, very good point, because I'll give you two sides of it here. Number one, I think first of all, it's very strained for the players. If you watched the Valencia game last night at the Mestalla, it was Valencia there against Atalanta in a crucial Champions League game, and they walked out onto the field and there was nothing. Silence. It was very, very eerie, and that must be strange for the players to play in that sort of environment. It felt almost like a friendly game, and that will be weird. But yeah, on the other hand, you will certainly, in this game, just like we heard at Barcelona when we played Las Palmas behind closed doors, you'll hear the players, you'll hear the coaches, you will hear, I guarantee you, Eder Sarabia on the sidelines shouting instructions. You'll be able to hear all of that, which we would never usually be able to, and certainly the players there will be able to clearly hear those instructions. They'll clearly be able to carry out a game plan. In particular there, I would look to our game at the Camp Nou, when maybe in recent home games, when we've been playing the ball around the back, there's been a bit of nervous energy around the Camp Nou. They've not always been happy with the patience we've been showing in games, and that'll be interesting. With no fans, there's no pressure immediately on the backs of the players. And also, of course, in away games, Barcelona not really great at going away from home and playing in fierce atmospheres. You look at the game this weekend against Mallorca, usually they have a brilliant crowd behind them there, newly promoted side, really, really raucous atmosphere. But there's going to be none of that. The players there are going to be going to an away stadium, but ultimately, it's just going to be 11 versus 11. And that could certainly level the playing field when you're going to play away from home, and it could be significant in the title race. It's going to be fascinating to see how the players cope. If we now move on to the matter of Antoine Griezmann, his recent form, his long-term future at the club, and many of you guys wondering, and I think rightly so, to be perfectly honest, is Griezmann going to be the next Coutinho? Is there more to come? Is this all we're going to get? What exactly right now is going on with him? And a very interesting point here, is Griezmann a victim of Club de Amigos, or is he simply not a Barcelona player? And I think that's a very, very interesting point. And again, I would look at two sides of it. I think number one, in terms of Coutinho, I can see similarities. I think Griezmann there was brought in for an extraordinary amount of money without a real plan of where to put him in this team, without a real plan there of where he would fit in the Barcelona system. It was another Galactico-type signing that maybe wasn't necessarily the best road to go down, and many of us at the time also said those things. But I would also look at it here as the fact that maybe, yes, I think he is a victim there of Club de Amigos. I think rightly or wrongly, I don't think the dressing room are fully warmed up to Antoine Griezmann. To be honest, some of that may be of his own making. I think, of course, the summer before he joined Barcelona, he had the chance to join this group, and I think then he would have been really, really well liked and well received. But of course, he turned us down. He made the documentary, and a year later, he signs for the club. And I still feel as though maybe some of the members there, that might come in to their minds on Griezmann. But I think out on the field, I really don't know. I think right now, in the centre, at times he's playing well. He got a brilliant goal, a crucial goal against Napoli. But then other times, he's forced out on the right, he's forced out on the left, and he's not even involved in the play. And whether it's people who are not wanting to pick him out, or whether he's simply not getting involved enough himself, but right now, whatever's happening, he's low on confidence. And it doesn't matter how good you are, doesn't matter what talent you have, if you've got no confidence out there on the field, you are going to struggle. But it'll be interesting as well to see Griezmann play without any fans, because maybe at Barcelona, the pressure there, it may be getting to him, it may be getting on his shoulders. Certainly at the Camp Nou, he might feel like he's expected there to make something happen. But without any fans, it'll be interesting now. That pressure comes off, that weight comes off. Maybe we could see Griezmann start to play with a bit more confidence. But there are question marks there for me. There are question marks right since he walked through the door. Is he going to be well received? Is he going to be well liked? Is he going to fit in here? And was that really the signing that we needed to make. And on the subject of strikers and on the subject there of number 9 goal scorers, many of you guys are wondering, when are we going to see Luis Suárez return? When is he going to be recovered? And do you think that Suárez's return there is going to help us in our attacking play? And of course, I did mention about a week or so ago about a recent interview from Suarez whereby he said in that interview that he was determined to return before that 4 months estimate that he was given, that he was supposed to be out for. He was adamant that he was going to return before that time, and he actually said in that interview he'd only taken 1 day off since his surgery had taken place, and he was working so hard to try and return. And it does seem as though, as time is going on, all that hard work, it is starting to pay off for Suarez, who's reportedly already running out on the field and started work with the ball, which is really advanced there in his recovery. And that would certainly put him well ahead of schedule in his return, with a few rumours already saying that even though Suarez wasn't going to be back until into May, well into May that he wasn't supposed to be back, some people are already saying we could see him next month in April. And that would be a real sign there of the progress and the hunger from Suarez, and it would be interesting to see what would happen when he came back, because of course having Suarez available would be an addition. It would be something there very positive that gives you another option. You'd rather have Suarez than not have him. It's as simple as that. A player like that, he can score goals, he can come alive in the big moments. We know that Suarez can pop up with something brilliant out of absolutely nothing. But I'd also be very curious to see, how is Suarez going to play under Quique Setien? That's something, of course, that we've never seen before. We saw Suarez under Ernesto Valverde, but under Setien, there are differences, as we're going to come on to in just a moment's time. And I do believe the player that we all know that Suarez is, I think he does have the right characteristics here to succeed under Setien in that number 9 poacher role. He can be on the end of things. He can get goals here in this system, but like I said before, he has to have that hunger, because under Setien too, he is going to have to work harder. He is going to have to there press from the front. But when he comes back, it is going to be fascinating. But of course, he'll be a very welcomed addition. And of course, we do have to move on now to Quique Setien, looking into his future. And basically, a lot of people are saying to me, what are your thoughts right now on Setien and his start at Barcelona? And I'll be completely honest with you. Of course, it hasn't gone exactly to plan. We haven't exactly come out the blocks and been firing on all cylinders, demolishing the opposition and really bringing back the glory days. But you have to see the progress. You have to see here that Barcelona are playing better under Quique Setien for me. There have been progress with significantly less resources than we had under Ernesto Valverde. You've got to remember there, Valverde was blessed there with a front three of Messi, who I think was more in form under Valverde, of Suarez, who was scoring goals, and Griezmann, who was also scoring goals too. That front three alone, that would get you wins all by itself. So I think Setien, given the resources he's had injuries, he's had suspensions, and of course no pre-season, he's tried to change things, and I do believe we have seen some of those signs. And I want to bring you here some stats brought to you here by Barcelona, some very good points here raised on Twitter, because they come up with some stats here comparing Valverde's time at the club this season and also Setien's time while he's been with Barcelona. And let's just look into here the comparison between the two. The XG per game, which stands there for expected goals, and it's basically a stat there that measures how likely you are to score from certain situations. The XG under Valverde was 1.76 goals per game. The XG under Setien, 2.36. So that there, significantly higher. We are expected to score more goals under Setien with the chances we're creating. Where that falls down though is goals scored per game. Ernesto Valverde, 2.58. Setien, 1.63. So what that tells you is Barcelona under Setien are creating more, getting into better areas, doing better things, but we were much more clinical under Valverde. Under Valverde, we were overachieving for the chances we were creating. Under Setien, with the chances we're having, we are underachieving right now in our finishing. And the stats also say that under Quique Setien, we have improved defensively. The XGA there, expected goals against, under Ernesto Valverde was 1.19 per game. Under Setien, it's actually less than a goal, 0.99 per game, and exactly the same there in terms of the goals that we've actually conceded. Very similar, Valverde 1.21, Setien just 1 goal per game. So as you can see there, simply looking at stats alone, we are better in chance creation, we are doing more in the final third, but we need to improve improve that finishing. And to be fair, that's not down to Setien, is it? He can't go out there and bury the chances. The foundations are right. We're building in the right way. Of course, there's still work to do. Believe me, I'm not saying it's perfect. Far, far from it. But I'm just saying, when you look at Valverde's work, when you look at what Setien has tried to change, there are improvements. We have to be patient, and we have to see what the rest of the season brings. There's work to do. Let's hope the players out there can start putting those chances away. So that there is my thoughts on all things Barcelona right now. Thank you, like I say, for all of your questions, guys. And of course, there are going to be plenty more videos in the coming days. Lots more is going to happen. There's no doubt about that. So much uncertainty around right now. But I will keep you updated as best as I possibly can. Thank you, as always, for your support. I will see you soon. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.